You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristadoulou.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristadoulou. It's November 11th, 2021. I'm coming at you guys with a quick news roundup video to talk about some big things that came out today. Obviously, we normally do Thursday night previews. I'm going to be changing the format for the channel and just uploads when they're going up and what it is I'm uploading, just to try some new stuff and mix it up a little bit here and see what works for you guys. So, as always, if you like what we're doing, make sure you like, comment, share, sub, discuss these points that we're talking today with me. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below and what this means for the two players we're talking about. But outside of that, one more quick thing. If you haven't followed me on our socials, the Greeks Gridiron on Instagram, the Greeks Gridiron on Twitter, the Greeks Gridiron on Facebook. I post on all three of those, whether it's signings or just things to talk about. I post a lot on Twitter during games and stuff like that. Would love to interact with you guys there. And then also, the fan email is up and running, thegreeksgridiron@gmail.com. You guys can submit questions there to see them answered live on the show. So if that is something that interests you, I highly recommend you guys shoot me an email there with a question, and you'll see it answered on the show before we kick things off or whatever it is that we're talking about that day. Now, let's get into the topics of discussion. The first one being Cam Newton returning to Carolina as a Panther. Sort of like a happy ending type thing that you don't normally get in the NFL here, but very exciting stuff for him. It's a one-year, $10 million deal. $4.5 million is guaranteed. He's getting a $1.5 million roster bonus as well. Newton met with Carolina earlier today, and they were able to kind of hash out everything that happened, because there was definitely a little bit of animosity, I'm sure, with the way things ended while he was there before he got released in 2019. So they were able to sit down, kind of clear the air, discuss what's been going on, and they were able to get a deal signed up and going for Newton to, I'm assuming, be the starter following next week. It was announced earlier today, Matt Rule said it himself, PJ Walker is going to start this week, which it kind of makes sense. It's Thursday, and it's not the system that Cam Newton was in when he was here with Ron Rivera. So give him a week to just kind of digest the playbook, get a little bit caught up to speed before you just throw him out there, because I don't really see good results coming from just throwing Newton into a game in the next, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. That's definitely not a recipe for success. This is some really exciting stuff, though. Despite the fact that Cam Newton, went 7-8 last year with the Patriots, had a career low and a handful of numbers from, passing yards to touchdowns, career highs and pick, whatever you want to call it. It was not the best year for him. This is a good kind of turning the page for the Panthers, who have been running with Sam Darnold the last few weeks. It has been a disaster of an experiment, and I think that's probably putting it lightly. And on top of that, this offense has just been abysmal. I mean, you have such a great defense over there in Carolina. Christian McCaffrey just came back, and that game that they had just this past week did not really look good. So, with the Sam Darnold experiment not really going well, and, I don't want to say this was a good thing for the Panthers. Sam Darnold has the cracked scapula. He's on the IR. It kind of is like a blessing in disguise for the Panthers to be able to move on without it, I guess, hurt. I don't know. It's implied that they were kind of done with the Darnold thing anyways. This kind of was like their scapegoat out of it. It's exciting stuff to see. I love the whole story of Newton coming back to Carolina. It should be an interesting thing to watch. I really think that the offense really has nowhere to go but up. I think that despite what you want to say about Cam Newton last year in New England, I think that the offense can't get any worse at this point, because Sam Darnold has played worse than Cam Newton did last year. Cam Newton was at least effective. He was leading the team on a run. Yeah, the Panthers started 3-0, but since then have just been dropping games left and right. This is a great opportunity for the Panthers. I think that the fan base should be excited. I'm sure coaching is excited. I'm sure Cam is excited to just be back home, to be able to kind of bury the hatchet and everything that happened during his release, get back on the same page, and see him back wearing number 1 in the teal and white. This is some exciting stuff. And again, not something you really see happen too often in the NFL. Feel-good story. You love to see something like this. Really excited to see how he does in his first start. Again, PJ Walker is not starting. PJ Walker is starting for them this week, so we'll have to wait a week before we actually get to see Cam Newton suit up and be ready to roll. But exciting stuff. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. So let me know if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. Are you guys excited? Are you not looking forward to this? Do you think that maybe they should be looking elsewhere for the quarterback position? What are your thoughts on Sam Darnold? They're still on the hook for his $18 million fifth-year option that they picked up during the offseason. What the heck are they going to do about that? You're about to pay Sam Darnold $18 million next year to sit on the bench behind Cam Newton if things go well, or potentially even somebody else if it doesn't go well. Like, this is such an odd situation that the Panthers are in. Hopefully, best case scenario, the offense gets somewhat better and can help this playoff caliber defense that they have going on there in Carolina. Especially, I mean, they got Stephon Gilmore now. The Panthers, if their offense can even just be good, can at least threaten to make their way into the playoffs. I mean, it's crazy how good that defense is, and Panthers fans, I feel for you. I hope you get that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you're a Panthers fan, or if you're just somebody, interested in seeing Cam Newton back playing, starting for somebody, what do you all think? As for the second topic that we are discussing today, the news has been going all over the place about where Odell Beckham's going to go. Is he going to sign with the Patriots? Is he going to sign with the Chiefs, the Packers, the Saints, the Seahawks? There's been rumors flying left and right. Where is he going to go? What is he interested in? Who is interested in him? It sounds like next week, after the games wrap up on Sunday, is when we're going to get a decision from Odell. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense to do that? I don't know. I think it does, just because there's really no harm in him missing another week. The way that this is going to boil down for Odell and be successful is for him to land somewhere where he's going to get the targets he wants and has a quarterback that is capable of getting him the football, and at least and he needs to be in an effective offense. Now, when we look at the 5 teams that are interested in Odell, realistically, I think he has 3 good fits out of the 5 teams that have been rumored to be going after him. Packers offered him the veterans minimum from what I've read. Belichick and Odell, and I live in New England, so this is stuff I've been hearing pundits say all week, that Belichick and Odell have a very big mutual respect for one another, so that's why they're kind of in the thick of the race as well. And then the Chiefs are somebody else that has their hat in there. I'm assuming veteran minimum from them too. They don't have a ton of money, so I would have to believe it's a veterans minimum type deal. Then you also have the Seahawks and the Saints. If I was to really break this down and pick the 3 teams that I think are realistically the best fit for Odell, and when you think of this for Odell, he needs to go somewhere, one, where he gets the targets he wants to satisfy him. He wants to feel like he's the big wide receiver piece for the team, but also for his value going into next year. You have to assume he's probably going to sign on for a 1-year deal for the rest of the season. He wants to essentially skyrocket his value going into free agency next year so he can sign some big money deal, whether it's where he is or somewhere else. This is like I need to kind of prove myself deal after the last couple of years not going quite his way with injuries and just lack of production. Packers, Patriots, and the Saints are a strong maybe for best fits for him, in my opinion. I'll tell you why not the Chiefs and the Seahawks. Seahawks fans, you guys have Tyler Lockett, you have DK Metcalf. Carson is coming back off of IR, assuming this week. Russell Wilson just got the pin taken out of his hand. I believe he's going to be going this week or whenever he comes back after the bye. It doesn't really make sense for him to go to Seattle. You have 2 really good wide receivers. You also have a really productive running back. I feel like it's going to be Cleveland all over again. Granted, Cleveland doesn't have quite the receiving corps that Seattle does, but they're such a run-heavy offense with 2 really good running backs. You also have Jarvis Landry there. It does not really make sense. Seattle, it's kind of like, rather than 2 running backs, it's 2 really good wide receivers and a good running back. There's just no room for him to get the production that I think he's looking for in terms of increasing his own value. Same with the Chiefs. There is just too much talent on that team for him to get the reps he wants, to get the targets he wants, to get the looks he wants. It does not make sense for me to see him go there, because he's not going to get done what I think he's trying to get done here. And again, this is all my own speculation and just kind of stuff that I've been reading about and hearing about, and kind of the thought process I've formed on this. I have a hard time believing Odell would want to go to the Chiefs or the Seahawks. Obviously, it's possible. I'm just kind of eliminating them because I don't really think so. The Saints, the reason I'm such a strong maybe on them is because the Michael Thomas situation is still very weird, but also they just lost Jameis Winston and they have Trevor Siemian. I think that in terms of when you look at the Patriots and the Packers, I don't know if I'm ready to say that Mac Jones is better than Trevor Siemian, but Mac Jones has been playing some pretty good football without having a clear number 1 wide receiver. They've been focusing more run-heavy offense with 2 tight end sets. Bringing in Odell, it's a totally different ball game in New England. Same with the Packers. The Packers, they're a very kind of spread it out offense, I think, but you have Aaron Jones, and then you have Devontae Adams and a bunch of other good wide receivers that are younger, but there's been problems with drops and inconsistencies. I like him going to the Saints. I just don't know if now that, Jameis Winston's out, you're kind of, question marking the quarterback position week in and week out. I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty going into that situation, and it doesn't make sense for what I think he wants to do here. Now, let's talk about the Pats and the Packers. Those are probably the two more likely spots, in my opinion. The Packers, I think if they get somebody like Odell, he's not going to be the number one. You have Devontae Adams, but he could be a strong number two. Yes, they have Robert Tonyan, but his emergence, I feel, was more so just because of the fact that the Packers needed somebody like that to emerge. If you have Odell, it opens things up. That could benefit Tonyan. It could benefit Odell because people do have to worry about that. And then obviously the running back situation, A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, Jones is great, Dillon's good, but it's not quite like the Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt duo that we were looking at in Cleveland. So you have Aaron Jones, who's a really good running back, in my opinion. It may be great if you want to argue it, and I wouldn't argue back. But I think the situation just makes a little more sense. And plus, you have the X factor in the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. I think that, with Rodgers throwing the rock, he wants another top-tier wide receiver. Odell Beckham could be that guy. He would be a fantastic number two, and I could see Rodgers targeting him at least 6 to 7 to 8 times a game, and him getting, 4, 5, 6 catches at least while still feeding to Devontae Adams. They can still run the ball the way they have. I could see something like that really working out, and especially because Aaron Rodgers is throwing the football there. It's a playoff contender team. It gives him an opportunity to play in the playoffs as well, continue to ride high and raise his stock if things are going well. There's strong opportunity with the Packers. When you look at the Patriots, no clear number one wide receiver. You have Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. Some people want to argue it was the Brady effect in New England. To be fair, as much as I respect Brady and everything he's done, yes, he did just win a ring in Tampa Bay. He got to pick the team that he went to last year. He picked the best team to go to. I don't care who you want to, or I don't care what side of the argument you're on about whether Tampa was a playoff-ready team that just needed a QB or not. Him going there, there's a ton of talent, and a lot of talent came in. Recipe for success right off the bat. Belichick is rebuilding a whole team from pretty much scratch. I like what they're doing over there. The defense is getting better week in and week out. The offense is progressing week in and week out. There's a lot to like. If you bring in a guy like Odell Beckham with no clear number one wide receiver on the team, Belichick can put him in positions to be successful, to be the number one guy. I think Belichick would trust him to do that as well, considering there is respect between Belichick and Odell. I think Belichick really likes him, and that's a part of the reason why they're even in the conversation for him. Going to the Pats or going to the Packers are probably what makes the most sense, in my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think about that, but I really think that one of those two places is probably his best bet to have the most success. And that's kind of where I stand on the Odell thing. Again, we're going to have to wait till probably Monday or Tuesday of next week to find out. I don't know if he's going to wait for the Monday game to wrap up, but it sounds like it's going to be next week when he makes a decision. I hope it's sooner, but if he wants to wait till next week to kind of get a clearer picture of the league and see where he wants to go, if he's rolling ideas in his head, whether they're playoff contenders or not, how's the system looking, how good is the receiving core already? He wants to be the star. He wants to make the big money, and he wants to contribute to a team that can win. Patriots make a lot of sense. Packers make a lot of sense. The Saints, they're a good team, but I just don't know. With Trevor Siemian at quarterback, I don't know. Alvin Kamara's there. Marquez Callaway has been pretty good. Question marks, though, at the quarterback position. And again, the Seahawks and Chiefs, there's just too much talent already there in positions. It just does not make sense, in my opinion. So Pats or Packers, would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But that's pretty much it for the news roundup for today. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. We'll be doing these more frequently. As big news pops up, I will discuss them with you guys. I want to see what your opinions are. Remember, follow the socials. We're pretty much the Greeks Gridiron on everything. And if it's not the Greeks Gridiron, it's my first and last name that you saw at the beginning of the episode. And then the fan email. Shoot me some questions. I'll answer them for you on the show. thegreeksgridiron@gmail.com. Just send it that way, and I'll be happy to answer whatever it is you guys ask. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys for the next video. Picks coming out tomorrow afternoon, 12:15 p.m. We'll be doing picks for all the games coming up this Sunday and Monday. I'll see you then.